War Eagle, Auburn Family, and E2C Network family. It is time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast with myself, Kyle Loomis, and my co-host, Austin Scott, on a different night, albeit that it's in the middle of the holiday, so things are a little crazy right now. But we're here, we're together, and we're ready to do another podcast recording. Austin, what's going on, sir?
War Eagle Kyle, Merry Christmas to you. It is almost here somehow,
some way. I think one of the more interesting things about Christmas is you wait for it to get here, and then that first part of December, it feels like it'll never be here. But then, when it's here, it's like on top of you. Like we're literally
absolutely
2 days away from it. And I guess I gotta remember it mirrors this way. I got my Christmas lights now up here in the corner where you guys can see them better. At least see them, because it used to be just like right along here, but you only can see like two of them the way they stretch out. So,
I like that.
I try to do that.
Is your truck new?
My truck? Oh, yes. This is new. So I added this in the back. We pull this out every Christmas. We never have anywhere to put it.
I love
it. Here, I don't want to it's going to reflect really bad on the thing. But yeah, it's got that Christmas.
That's great.
So it only comes out once a year. We finally just said, why don't you put it in the background? When I did the new setup, we had a better opportunity to utilize that, at least in some way. It's a door hanging type of situation or on the wall, but there's not really any place to put it. Anyway, not enough about that. So I know we're probably going to have a few new viewers, at least live, maybe even on the replay, because they're not used to this particular thing happening. Let me guys give you a rundown of what's about to happen. And exactly, or roughly, I should say, I try to say exactly, but it's usually roughly 3 minutes here. We're going to start doing a live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast, which is the flagship show of the E2C Network. Encompasses everything that we want to talk about: sports, culture, and family for Auburn people. So we will dive into that, during which we won't be talking a lot, if any, to the chat. But right now, we'll hang out with you guys for a minute, and we will stay for a little while afterwards. It's about a 30-minute show to talk with you about anything. So I know a lot of you have certain topics that you want us to hit or want to go ahead and express things about. Let us know right now. You got about 2.5 minutes until we get started. As you guys know, post where you're watching from right now, city, state, international, smash that like button. And if you're watching on the replay, I would say at the very least, come back if you're not going to watch the whole show and go to the end, because I'm going to give you some schedule update stuff for the next 2 weeks with all the holiday stuff that we've got to cover with our show, with various E2C Network content. So that's going to be very important for so many of y'all to hear. We got somebody from the SIP, Memphis, too. That's pretty close to the SIP as well. Normal guy. Is anybody really normal? Devin's here. Good to see you. I brushed over this. Brian says we are his favorite podcast team.
From Minnesota, too.
I know. Well, Brian's been a pretty regular guy, and he's like so now when I think of Auburn people from a certain state, there's Devin from Texas, Brian from Minnesota. I'm fixing my mic here, sorry. And several others that I now associate with the state, says like my quintessential Auburn people from that state. You're just another guy from Auburn. So
just another guy from Auburn, but I have the privilege of being the resident of Auburn in this group. So
you shut up, sir.
Still here.
Shut up. I am so upset with you. Joe, good to see you, my friend. I think I brought that up and said hello. Jackson, Tennessee. We got a good smattering of people from all across the nation tonight. It's been a minute. Always, when I say everybody check in, if you're international, post if you're international, it's been a while since we've had someone international check in on the show. But for a while there, like when we first started doing this, I feel like every show we had someone, over the UK and Australia or something like that, always checking into the show. So, but at least we got the Southeast very heavily represented here tonight. You are doing Texas proud. And so, but she always has so many other connections because she's a Washington fan. Did you know that about her, Austin?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they've got some connection to the University of Washington. So we had her on to talk about the game.
Yeah, right.
Need to change my name to Chase from the SIP. You can. Is your YouTube handle. You can do whatever you want with it. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about on today's show, what our plan is, sometimes we go down the rabbit hole, is to talk about obviously signing day. the West Coast trip, and we'll just talk about Christmas and bring it all into the kind of Auburn spectrum. We talked a little bit and got off on a tangent about Austin putting a toilet paper roll on top of his tree for his Auburn tree.
And around.
That's right. Because you put it on top and then you kind of went like that down the thing.
That's right. Yeah.
That was episode 15, I think.
I think so. Yep.
So people should go check that out. Sir, are you ready to do this?
I'm all ready to do it.
All right. Well, let me put the reminder up for folks. Again, try to stay afterward if you can. We will just chat it up about anything that y'all want to talk about. For those of you that are regulars, let people know that may be coming in how this works if they get confused. Other than that, we are rolling. Here is episode 17 of the Auburn Experience podcast, recording now. David Housel said it best: the whole of the Auburn Experience. It includes so many different things. It includes so many different people and places as well, even outside of Auburn, the city. Most importantly, it's all about sports. It's all about our culture, and it's all about our family. And because it is always about the Auburn family, you got to have an Auburn family member with you wherever you go, whatever you're doing. And that is very much the case on a podcast called the Auburn Experience podcast, which we're on. My co-host is here with me as normal, again reminding me pre-show of why I despise him some days, because he resides in the loveliest village on the plains and gets to experience Christmas there. Austin Scott, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Kyle, War Eagle to you. Merry Christmas to you. If you're listening on the replay, we are 2 days from Christmas, and I can't believe it's already here. We were talking pre-show too about how it just sneaks up on you once you get here, and it's here. And so I'm excited to talk about Christmas and all the things that we've been doing in the loveliest village on the plains for Christmas and what Auburn Christmas can encompass. But it's been a busy week, my friends, and I'm excited to talk about all of it with you.
It absolutely is. And we have an agenda that we want to hit today with all the many things that have been happening Auburn-wise over the last week or so. I kind of want to go ahead and just jump right into the two bigger things, but let's just talk a little Christmas. Let's get this thing started off right, because, we're going to probably spend majority of our time talking about signing day and the West Coast trip. But let's talk a little Christmas right now. Since you decided to make me jealous pre-show about you getting to be in Auburn for Christmas, what are you going to be doing? Like, what does it mean for the Scott household? Do you go check out the Auburn Christmas tree, or what are you going to be doing?
Well, it's been good so far. They dress up downtown pretty good, pretty early. I think we've talked about on a previous episode the Christmas tree and when they light it. When students are still in town and on campus.
Wait, they don't light it when people are not on campus?
Like no, I just mean the first time. The first time.
Gotcha.
No, it stays lit.
I was about to say the budget must be running real hard if they're cutting it off when nobody's there.
That's right. Yeah, that'd be like on the same ticket as riding buses to different away games. But anyway, I think we were talking today too. My wife asked me, because the tree is so big, but it stays up year round, and so I've always found that really interesting. That big old tree stays up year round on the front of Sanford Lawn.
Well, here's the ironic part about that, Austin, is I forget it's there until Christmas rolls around. Like every time, like I don't know, does Auburn pull some magic off to make you forget that the Christmas tree is still there on Sanford Lawn? I mean, obviously they take the lighting off, the decorations off, all of that kind of stuff. But, unless for me at least, I can't speak for you or anybody else, if I don't concentrate on it, I forget that it's there on a game day or just passing through, or if somebody points out. I think probably I was there with a relative sometime that's not an Auburn fan. They said, "What's that Christmas tree doing out there?" Oh yeah, that's wait a minute, why is it there? We tend to forget about those things sometimes.
Yeah, it just kind of stays up all year. And like you said, it's kind of, I think it's become just such a normal thing that I'm like you, I don't really think about it until it gets decorated and lit up. I'm now wondering, does the Hanukkah menorah stay up? It doesn't stay up all year.
Wait, where's the Hanukkah menorah?
Right next to it.
Really?
Like 5 feet to the right if you're looking from the street.
Is that normal? Like, was that always been that way, or is that a recent addition?
It was there when I was in school.
So that was what, 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I graduated almost 5 years ago.
We just dated Austin, by the way. For those of you that are watching the live recording, you can always see how young he looks and how old I look with my receding hairline. But now you just really placed kind of how far apart we are in age. It's not that drastic, but let's be honest.
No, it's not.
Hairline alone, you got me beat. You know what I wish for Christmas? A new hairline. That's what I want.
Santa's impressive, but I don't know about that, Kyle.
It is, yeah. There's miracles can only be worked by Gus Malzahn in his first year back twice. So here, let me. This kind of make me thinking about Christmas and Auburn stuff. What's something Auburn that you would wish for Christmas? I'm not talking about you personally. I'm not talking about you personally. Like what, as Auburn the entity, what would you wish for Christmas, like for this next year?
Can we say united fan base, or is that still too miracle?
That is impossible. We're not going for miracles here.
Man, that's a good one. We're right on the cusp of signing day, so some big recruits would probably be a good Christmas gift. Man, I don't know. I got one you have right off. Go ahead.
For every Auburn podcast out there, and for anyone who's doing something related to Auburn, connected to Auburn, that's doing video podcasts, I want them to have the spinning helmet like they have in your background right now. That's what I wish for Christmas, because that looks awesome, my friend. I know you've had it back there, but the new setup I'm loving.
I've tried to kind of showcase it because it's so fun. That's a good one. That's a great one. That's lower level than I was thinking, but I like that one.
It's actually something like tangible, something it's going to cost a lot to get all the, because let's be honest, we're like one of not 1,000, but there's so many Auburn podcasts now and so many Auburn YouTube channels and so many Auburn content creators. And we're not even mentioning the ones that are like the official people, By the way, how's that Harsin podcast going now?
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody's gone back and like listened to some of that. It's probably really interesting to listen to it in retrospect. Here's what I wish for, as cool as a concept as that was at the time. And I like that we were being innovative. I like that Harsin was being. My Christmas wish for an Auburn Christmas wish is there be no focus on podcast by the coaches right now. Win some bowl games, maybe, have a respectable season, and then we can start talking about doing podcasts again.
Yeah, I think maybe focus on just getting this thing off to a good start here before we worry about the extras. Man, that's a great question. I'd be really interested to see kind of what you'd get some snarky responses, but I'd be interested to see what hashtag Auburn Twitter thinks of. Oh, I got one. No.
What do you got?
It's not tangible, but it's what I've been thinking about as of recent days, and with our friend Clint Richardson.
Oh no! Don't bring Clint into this already. We're barely into the show, and you're bringing that.
No. I'm not asking for uniforms for Christmas.
Okay.
We banish all memory. We just sprinkle Santa pixie dust for every individual, and we banish the words University of Auburn from everyone. No, it doesn't happen with recruits. It doesn't happen with people make fun of. No one ever thinks of it again, and the University of Auburn is gone.
Can I be honest with you? I don't hate that. Like, listen, Linda, listen. I don't know if you've seen that video before. Linda. To me, it's about how you spin things, right? Like your little spinny thing in the background of your video.
Sure.
The University of Auburn makes it sound more official and more like elitist, because it's like the Ohio State or the University of Alabama, all that kind of stuff. So like, to me, that almost makes it sound more elite. I mean, I don't prefer it. I prefer us just to be called Auburn University, but like, I see everybody getting up in arms about this, and I'm like, it could be worse, right? At least they said Auburn.
I can't stand it. It's not who we are. I'd counter what you're saying with the elitist is why they say it, but that's just not what Auburn is and who we are. The Ohio State University, they get up in arms about you forget the. Well, I'm up in arms that people can't figure out what the university. I mean, you're considering this school among the people that you're going to spend the next 4 years with, and we can't even get the name right.
In fairness, in fairness, most universities are the University of blank or whatever. There's more of those than there are Auburn universities, Clemson universities, or you have to have a state normally attached to it. Alabama State University, Ohio State University, Tennessee State University, that kind of, you have to have some kind of identifier with that. But if that
makes us all the more special. That's what I want for Christmas.
There you go. So if that's what you really want for Christmas, something Auburn, you could have reached into Santa's bag and grabbed a national title. That was like the easy pickings I thought you'd go immediately to.
Too easy.
You wanted unity and peace on earth amongst the Auburn Twitter fan base. Like that, it wouldn't even be what it is. The Twitter mob wouldn't be what it is without a little bit of strife and chaos.
But it'd be without so many headaches too, Kyle.
Yes, I'm not going to argue that. That's fair. That is a fair point. I'll keep that on our Christmas list for this year. Let's talk about the West Coast trip. I'm going to keep people in suspense. They're wanting us to talk about National Signing Day. We're going to get there. Let's talk about this West Coast trip that Auburn basketball just went on. And get ready, folks, because now that signing day is over, the news cycle for Auburn football is going to slowly start waning. So you better get hyped for some Auburn basketball. If you walked into this West Coast trip, meaning a USC game and a Washington game, and your expectations were that you were going to come out undefeated, you're sorely disappointed. Auburn did not have a great game against USC. It was not a terrible game. They shot themselves in the foot. But what a response at the Washington I almost said the Washington University, going back to our last topic, the University of Washington Huskies, their arena, taking them down and really just sending a message to them. Now, I do wish this was a Washington Husky team that was a little bit more formidable, and there's always going to be that debate. Who was it more that Auburn was just that good versus them, or are they that bad? But your thoughts on the West Coast trip, overall gameplay, anything that you wanted to mention about it?
Yeah, I guess the first one's at USC, and I remember when it got announced, people were really excited. That's very rare that Auburn
Galen
and USC
Center is a big one. Yep,
very rare that Auburn and USC get to face off in a whole lot of things, including basketball. So exciting trip and heavy Auburn contingent at both games, which is just not surprising at all, but still incredible to see. I think, though, if you had told me without me having watched the game or knowing the final score, that Auburn had 23, I think is the right number, 23 turnovers in the game, and it's tied for their tied for the most in the last 4 years.
Right.
I've been like, oh my. I'm like, how bad was it? Tell me the score, Kyle. And it was, you lose by 3. And so that's mind-boggling in itself. And I know that's going to sound like a moral victory thing, but that's impressive to me that they didn't fold up and they didn't just absolutely get blown out when you give up 23 turnovers to the opponent and had a shot at the end to tie it. You get the last shot with a heave to tie it.
Yeah.
And so it stinks, and they played a really, really ugly, sloppy game. And you said it best; they shot themselves in the foot 23 times. But it was just nasty. And USC played really well. That point guard, Ellis, I think, just had a phenomenal day. And so that's an impressive team and a tough place to play. And so I'm not too torn up about it, besides the turnovers and fouling, because it was just horrible. It was just absolutely disgusting from Auburn's end. To bounce back and struggle in the first half and kind of shake off the rust, and then absolutely destroy Washington in the second half is even more impressive to me. I don't know how many people got to watch that game because it was like the Ark of the Covenant trying to find it.
My gosh, packed. And when you got the feed, it wasn't that great.
No. It was just like in this day and age we have a bajillion options to watch TV these days, and it makes it that hard to find a game.
Is
It's
it that
crazy.
hard for the Pac-12 network and the SEC network to reach an agreement to feed the feed into SEC Network Plus at the very
Yeah.
least, so that you
Just
can,
split it.
like, to me, that's a big win because you're going to get all these SEC fans doing all these extreme things to the Fubo TV thing, whatever. I was luckily on another, I'll give them a shout out, the Auburn basketball podcast. Matt Donaldson, I haven't met the other ones yet, so I don't have their names, but they did a Zoom call where they signed up for it and broadcast it, not publicly, obviously, because you can't do that, but let us all watch it that way. So that was very thankful for them. But going to these extreme links, why can you not just split it? Because you know that you're going to get this influx of Auburn fans that want to watch these guys play, even if they're a little bit frustrated at them from the last game. The ratings, the commercial money that's going to be coming in from that alone, you're going to make bank if you just make it easy on. If you make it on easy on Auburn fans to come, they will come in droves physically, but also virtually to watch their teams play. That's what we do. That's part of our culture. So
I guess the counterpoint to that is they didn't do it when Washington came down here, and I'm, sure they had.
But that was 4 years ago. Things are much different now.
Sure, but this is the return of the home and home.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that they had
years.
trouble finding the SEC. Yeah, I know. Finding the return of the SEC network. But in this day, it just, with all these, we talk about media deals and how much money goes into these conferences getting media deals and how they're always getting re-upped or restructured. It shouldn't be this hard to find it. All that said, the game itself, Auburn came out there, dominated. Janai Broome dominated. KD Johnson found his rhythm late. Wendell Green looks to be okay with that ankle. Trey Donaldson probably didn't want to leave the West Coast. How great of
Trey Johnson's like, can we play out here all the time, please?
Yeah, he's like, I'll play on the Pac-12 network. Yeah, incredible showing by him and really exciting for what he can be to this team. I think we've talked about in the past podcasts, and Coach Bruce Pearl has talked about, we need these freshmen to step up, and Trey Donaldson has taken that to heart and had an incredible road trip. So he's feeling good. I was impressed overall. I think, the 23 turnovers really stinks, but if you told me 1-1 on the road trip and one is, a single possession loss, what are you going to do?
Well, and that's the big thing. We're not talking about moral victories here. We're just talking about looking at the context of the scenario here. Auburn should have won the game against USC, and most experts would have predicted, even in a tough environment like USC in the Galen Center, that you win that one.
Right.
So you shot yourself in the foot. What's more impressive to me is the response. And like you said, what we did against Washington, yes, against a lesser opponent compared to USC from, all the metrics and stuff. But the big thing for me is you're going to make a mistake as a college basketball team. There's very few that go undefeated. And even the ones that go undefeated, look terrible some nights and nearly, take that loss to ruin their record. It's just the nature of a long season with 30 games usually in the regular season, and then who knows how many in the postseason. So that in and of itself just lends it to the impossibility of having just stellar play the entire year, especially when this day and age where you're rotating guys in that are here for one and done years, that are, maybe transferring in and out with the portal, all that kind of stuff. All those things together make it harder to have these perfected teams that stay together for a long time, that make fewer and fewer mistakes because they're used to each other. So all of that context to there, I'm more impressed with the bounce back than I am frustrated with the turnovers, because that is something that can be cleaned up. We all know that Auburn's basketball offense isn't great right now, and we're finding ways to work around it. We just can't do things like we did against USC and turn the ball over. But, stepping outside the game, I actually really enjoyed this, as frustrating as it was to have some like later games and dealing with all the stuff that we've already whined and complained about. We're crotchety old men again, Austin. We always find ways to be crotchety. I would like us to do something like this again. So my question to you would be, if you had to pick the next two teams for us on the West Coast, and I will, it doesn't necessarily have to be just California, Oregon, and Washington. I'll count, like, if there's a team in Montana or in Idaho, or, Arizona, the traditional kind of over there, the Pac-12, the WAC, or the WAC's not alive anymore, Mountain West. What would you want on a West Coast trip? 2 games.
Yeah, I like that. I think that The two that jump out right ahead, and this might be just too easy, but one is, one of those elite programs in Arizona. Tennessee just went out there and played them. That'd be a special game, a special place to play. Bruce always talks about the special opportunity to play in an arena like that with a fan base like that. So Arizona would be one I think would be fun. And then the other one that came to mind would just be Oregon. I think probably because Washington.
You just want to go see Bo Nix. That's all you just want to go see Bo Nix next year. That's all
He's
it is.
back. He's back, folks. Next year, he's not a dark horse for the Heisman. He's on the favorite.
He'll always be a dark horse for the Heisman because he's always having fun
and focused.
And this is the year.
And anyway, yeah. Before we get on that tangent, but Washington had that crazy weird court. Oregon's got one of their own,
right?
And so I think I thought of them, but they're also, in that same level. I think of Washington as where always going to be competitive in the Pac-12, always going to be able to usually make the tournament and have a chance to go far. So I think that'd be a good matchup for Auburn too. And I think a lot of people would be interested in both of those. So I'm going to say Arizona and Oregon. And then the only other one I thought of, because we just played USC, so UCLA would be a similar one to Arizona, where it'd be fun.
That's where I'm going, and I'm going to create the worst 2-game stretch you could possibly have, at least by today's standards, and traditionally as well. Like, if you really want to test yourself, have nobody question whether you go out somewhere and really go fight against great teams, UCLA and Gonzaga. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't think about Gonzaga.
I'm just saying, Arizona, yes, but UCLA and Gonzaga, right? Like, imagine us playing them this year.
Yeah.
It would have been real tough for us to get out of there with one win, much less.
That'd be nuts.
Without having a bad game or two. Regardless, I had a lot of fun with that, and hope we'll do something like that again in the future. As Bruce said on his press conference, that there's not a lot of teams doing something like this these days for non-conference games. So I'm glad he continues to innovate. I'm glad he continues to be a little bit different. It'll help Auburn on the court, but especially off the court too,
100%.
In a lot of different ways. We've waited long enough. Let's talk about National Signing Day. Well, technically, Austin, it is early signing day, but we treat early signing day now like it's actually not signing day. Before you know it, we're going to have 3 signing days throughout the year. I mean, technically we do have that. The other sports have like their signing day now, like November or something like that, I think is what it was. Because I even put a video out in the on the YouTube channel, kind of addressing how many some of the programs brought in. And I think there was one year too, where like they tried to do everybody together all on the same day. And of course, football just takes the cake in terms of exposure and stuff like that. So I'm glad that they spread it out. Everybody's always going to be super interested in football recruiting and the obsession that is with that, something that I'm glad that I kind of broke away from to some degree. Obviously, I have to stay connected with it for what I do here. But boy, howdy. I try to always stay away from hyperbole and not just act like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. But I don't know what else Hugh Freeze can do to win some support from you if you are a detractor of his, with what he pulled off in basically 2 to 3 weeks on the job, from a class that was, depending on where you look, 60, 50s to in the teens at one point. And I think now it kind of averages out about 20, but we're not, it's the early signing day and period. So there's still a couple months left to go. The fact that we got up there, and I was on a guest of another YouTube channel, and he was even at his first question was, wow, when I looked at the rankings at one point this morning and saw Auburn, I had to ask what happened. So your thoughts on signing day, what's your impressions of it?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing everyone's been saying is, how in the world did they pull this off in 3.5 weeks? And nobody's saying that this is an incredibly elite class. And Coach Freeze even said at the start of his press conference, this isn't even where he expects Auburn University football to be in recruiting.
Right.
But for them to hold it together, and you credit Cadillac, you credit Trevon Reed, you credit Zach Etheridge, all the guys that we've been talking about, and guys who aren't even here anymore, who've been let go from their jobs, that held it together to be able to pull in a class like this and convince guys that Auburn's still a place they need to be. Wow, just wow. And in every area, it's not just like the defense will always be fine at Auburn, so it'll be okay. It doesn't matter who the coach is.
Mhm.
Offense, defense, special teams. Auburn got great guys and flipped them from other people. And don't let anybody tell you that, oh, well, they didn't want those guys.
It's always the storyline. And listen, we do it. There's people on our side that do it the same way. We didn't. I'm so tired of that argument, acting like we didn't want him. Like, I was disappointed that Keon Jenkins, the quarterback commit, decided to leave us. Like, not because I thought he was going to be our next starting quarterback, but because, like, I hate seeing guys that decide I want to be a part of Auburn, but then feel like it's, not the best situation for him. I completely understand why he went. New coach came in, another quarterback's brought in, probably another transfer quarterback coming along the line here at some point with that space opened up. So I understand the kid. So, but I hate this mentality of like, well, we didn't want him anyway. Yeah, you did. You just didn't want, you don't want him now. Sorry, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox. This is what recruiting does to me. It makes me a grumpy, crotchety old man. Except yesterday.
It's not the only thing, but that's okay. we own that. But I mean, flips from Ohio State, flips from help me, Kyle. Florida State, flips from
Tennessee.
Yes, Tennessee,
Texas Tech. Arkansas. I'm missing some others here as well. I know.
Ohio State with Kyan Lee is the biggest one that kind of everybody was waiting on at the end of the day. Obviously, yes, it would have been absolutely great if Tony Mitchell would have flipped from Alabama. And it didn't happen, and the two kids from Montgomery, everybody knew which way that was going and still had hopes. But to be able to pull off a class like that and have opportunities with those guys, like I said before with basketball, I'm not trying to be the moral victor, but given the context and the scenario around this coaching staff and what's going on this season, and with another signing day still to come, it's impressive. And so I commend them 100%. I can't wait to see kind of how they fill it in at the next signing day, and then raid that portal and just to go get what you can get. And it's exciting. Yeah, I think a lot of people were excited about Auburn recruiting period and signing day more so than the last few years. And so that's always good to see, is just excitement about Auburn, no matter if you're a recruiter junkie or not.
There are a couple of big things from yesterday I want to point out. I know we're talking more high level stuff rather than specific things about particular players and things like that. But you had coming into the day. Well, let me just talk about what you had after. 21 commits. When you count them all up, 20 of them are now signed. That's counting Rivaldo Fairweather, who was the tight end transfer that finally today sent in his. I don't know if there was a reason behind that or whatever, but it's in today. The only one is Jeremiah Cobb, and all indications are we're fine with him, and he's going to sign in February like he's always planned to. We'll see what happens, right? Always. Never count your chicks before they hatch. Is that the saying?
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like I'm from South Carolina talking about chickens, but so that is a storyline out of this. Taking care of the areas that you needed to. Like, this was every year you're trying to fill needs, right? But this was a year of like restarting and finding a new foundation. And I know as Auburn fans, we're tired about talking about this type of stuff, about building something. We want it to be built, but this is what happens when you make a transition. And he is truly, I hope people will see that the patience required. You see him laying the foundation for people, giving him that grace and time to work his system. Here's the other thing. We know that Hugh Freeze can recruit. We know that Hugh Freeze can recruit in the SEC. We have yet to witness Hugh Freeze in the SEC when the transfer portal operated the way that it does. Now, that's not me sitting here saying that we're going to just have the most incredible transfer portal ever, but give the man some time, see what he can do. We know he's a guy about relationships. I mean, I loved in this press conference talking about who had the best cooking. Like, that's the stuff I like to hear, frankly, more than, oh, I thought this guy can run really well, jump really high. That's the stuff I love to hear.
Yeah, because that's what it comes down to is relationships. And you don't want to, I don't want to make it sound like you're selling a kid on just to get their signature. But these kids, it's more than just about ball. They need to trust you. Their families need to trust you. How many times do we hear about kids and their parents differing on where they need to go, or mom having a I need to wait. I can't commit until my mom comes down there and meets you or comes to see campus. Like it's a whole family thing. And so I agree, for him to prioritize those relationships and then talk about it is big. And I think it'll serve him well. It'll serve Auburn well. Um, and like everything you said about the transfer portal, I completely agree with. Auburn's already been tied to some of the big names in the portal.
Right.
There'll be a whole nother wave after some bowl games. And this thing is, we already know this, the portal thing is constant. It doesn't stop, and it'll always be people looking in there and seeing who might go in there. And so I'm excited about the recruiting in general, whether it's high school or transfer portal with the staff. And I've been pretty impressed with them so far, and the results show it.
To round out, what names from this group excites you the most? Do you have someone that's kind of like a person that maybe you're interested in that maybe not a lot of people are looking at, or just names that you'd like to mention, one or two or however many you got?
I think the loan transfer, or not loan, I'm sorry, the tight end transfer, Rivaldo Fairweather, intrigues me a lot. I think that his body type and his way of playing the game is something we can see with Hugh Freeze has had success in the SEC. Evan Ingram was his big tight end at Ole Miss, had a lot of success with him. He's still playing in the NFL. So I really like that. I'm trying to think about a high school kid. The kid from Ohio State is one I really like. Kyan Lee and Sylvester Smith. Both Kyan's a defensive back. Sylvester, I think, is a safety. Both of those guys, everything I read about them or hear people tell you about them is they're just old school, love to hit.
Right.
I'm all about you laying some licks. And so I can't wait to see those guys. That's the other thing, is these guys, I think people with high school recruiting, we forget about them unless it's an instant impact guy. Like we all knew Tanks Bigsby was coming in and running the football day.
I mean, how could you not look at the dude?
Exactly. A lot of these guys are high school, and then they get in a collegiate weight program that builds them up. Those two guys are already really big guys, and they love to hit. I can't wait to see them put some weight on and go after some of the SEC receivers and running backs. So it's going to be a good class. I think I was going to say this, and I realized what the reference will be to. I don't think we're done yet, and I think that's going to be what we all like to ask Trevon now: is, are we done yet?
I think we're not done yet.
We're not done yet. And
I just sent him a message yesterday. I just said, Trevon, do I even need to ask? He just that's all I get back.
I feel like so many ask him now, but it's what everyone has believed with this coaching staff,
right?
And it's proved to be true. They keep bringing them in, so it'll be exciting.
A lot of exciting names. We're not done talking about them here at E2C Network. There will be a lot of content here on the YouTube channel. I'm sure the guys on the No Huddle show will be giving their impressions on that. So if you love recruiting, want to hear more about this class discussion, this is not the last place and the last opportunity on E2C Network. You will be able to hear us talk about it. We have a whole reaction show to that, video after video, and more to come still of breaking down each of those commits at the time, now signees. So again, while we are not a primary area for recruiting, it is plenty to talk about right now, so we will do that. Obviously, wanted to hit that top before we go. Before we sign off, though, I want to mention this for everybody, and we want to start off this closing by wishing everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, Festivus for the rest of us. I don't know what it is. I hope I hope you celebrate Christmas, as for me personally, because it's the most important thing in human history, and it's the most important gift that was ever given. I won't go bore everybody with that doesn't believe that, but I think Austin and I well enough where we stand on that, what our beliefs are and why we know what the reason for the season is. So I hope that you'll celebrate that. If not, find out why why this is the most wonderful time of the year and why we celebrate it. Also, with it being the holidays, we will be off basically for the next 2 weeks. So usually we do these on Sunday nights for live recordings at 9 Eastern time. Weird night tonight. Obviously trying to work around the holiday schedules, but basically I think it's Wednesday the 4th. No, actually it'll be the first Sunday. I don't know why I said Wednesday. The first Sunday after the new year. We'll probably be back. Yes, I think we will. So just hang on. If you love the Auburn Experience podcast, we will definitely be doing more as soon as we get through the holiday season. Austin, as always, it's great to have you here, and I appreciate you. You are the greatest little Auburn Christmas present I could ever have.
Well, thanks, Kyle. Same to you, and I hope you get plenty of Auburn themed Christmas gifts. And yeah, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a War Eagle.
It's a great way to end it. War Eagle. All right, everybody. So that's our recording. We will hang around for just a few more minutes. That will be out on the podcast, or that part of it, if you want to listen to it again or whatever. And we'll do that again in about 2 weeks, like I said. So I'll wait till the very end to give you the full updates about schedule stuff. But what do you guys want to talk about in the chat right now? I know some of y'all were commenting. We'll go back and look here. WT, like I said, I'll answer all that towards the end there, because I did tell people at the beginning that I'd do it at the end. I know some people like skip over and only watch the parts that they want to, so I did advise them to check the end, so we'll do that at the end. Neil says, Kyle, are there any Auburn gift ideas you can throw out for those of us looking for Auburn gift ideas? Ooh, that's what we should have talked about that. We'll save that for next year if we're still doing this. I hope we will be, but we'll save that for next year.
Maybe we can recap kind of some AU gifts that maybe family members got or you got. I'm trying to think about, I don't want to say any gifts I got anybody actually right now.
Did you almost ruin it?
I was about to say, is there anything you got anyone? But I was like, no, we got a few more days. I'm going to wait.
I think the easy go-to is an Auburn Christmas ornament. You can find them not everywhere, but I mean, if you go through Auburn, you can go to some of these, like Auburn Art has got, I'm sure, tons of Christmas ornaments this year. You can find them at those collegiate sports shops. Or even if it's not, doesn't have like something solely Auburn on them, get them like a tiger ornament or an eagle ornament, or something that relates them to, get them a frozen emoji ornament, because now we got Hugh Freeze. Are you looking around for ideas now? Is that what you're doing?
I'm looking around to see what people have given me for Christmas, maybe that's in here, but I don't think anything.
More Christmas Auburn decorations like this one.
Yeah.
Auburn Christmas lights that I got one year that are finally being put to good use.
Oh, I think I got this from Auburn Art one year for my mom.
This is free advertisement for Auburn
I have
Art.
one too. Yeah, sponsor us. For Auburn Art. This is a Tumor's Lemonade candle.
What?
Yeah. It smells pretty
Austin,
good,
why have we not talked about this yet?
Yeah, I think it was at Auburn Art. Emily would know. She's probably watching on YouTube. Maybe she'll comment. Yeah, smells just like it. It's good stuff.
Oh, that's so good. Oh man.
I don't see it. There was something else I thought maybe was in here for Christmas, but yeah. So little knickknacks.
Yeah, Ryan's got 4 Auburn ornaments. I think we've got more than that. Probably got
people like little stuff like this. Like
little things like that, because as you can tell, you guys are only seeing part of this bookshelf. Let me just tell you, there is tons of stuff here, and you can actually see more of it now that I've moved around. I know people like the old way I sat, but I love this so much better because now you can see the banner. The lighting's a little bit better for me. I'm still playing around with that, and I don't have to take my pictures down all the way. You can see that. I'll just pull the curtain back for you guys. That's my ring light. You can see in the reflection right there that I use to kind of light myself up a little bit. But if I had it back the old way with this new lighting setup, all y'all would see is reflection, just all the time.
That's why I look good tonight. I have a light, Kyle.
You do have a light. I noticed that you.
There's a light right there. Yeah,
it looks very good. You got it off to the side like you're supposed to have it. I mean, it's pretty sweet. No dustbusters.
Yeah, there she is.
There she is. How's
Auburn
it going? Yes. We just can't see Caddy. I know Caddy's right here. Trust me, Caddy will never leave. He is.
I guess here. I've gotten these from Christmas from my dad over the past years, like the nice, like
so
stuff
that's
Kyle
the
has.
Kick 6. What else?
We'll go back here. Hang on.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. We've got Bo the ball player.
Yep.
We've got the Kick 6 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's just a Sanford Hall.
Okay, now I see. I thought it was Sanford Hall, but I couldn't be sure. I can't take y'all on a tour like Austin, because if I do, literally everything will fall apart. Sometimes maybe I'll do that for the Booster Club people sometime, just show them the other side of what they don't see. It's actually a lot less than it used to be. I'm really playing with my setup a little bit more. But obviously signed Auburn footballs. These are none of the ones in the contest. That one's sitting down right there. You'll never know. I've already announced who it is. So you can go find out. Watch the video and you'll know which one it is. But Cameron Artist Payne is this one right over here. This one's Montravius Adams. Behind me is Jarrett Stidham. And then I have my two favorite ones up here off screen now because I just don't, they're like in special cases. Nick Marshall on a really unique signed Auburn football. Love that one. It's probably will never be worth anything, but that's like one of my favorites, probably my favorite. And then Ronnie Brown's up there. And then I obviously have Cadillac signed picture over there.
Nice.
All the other things that you see. Show and tell.
That Chris Davis one is signed, which is nice. This is just the Gus Malzahn signed ball. And this is a Bruce Pro basketball. But those are my signatures in here.
Hold on. No, that's the giveaway ball.
I thought I had a Tubbs one in here, but I don't.
This is my third favorite one. Deshaun Davis and Gus together.
Oh wow,
I was going through a phase where I went from just wanting one signed Auburn football of one player, like just that I chose every year at Band Day, I think is what it was. But then I was like, you know what? If I only focus on one, I have time to get in the coach's line and get the coach with the player. And that kind of, in my mind, it increases the value a little bit, but
sure.
Because you're coaching that. I miss ticket stubs too. You know, it'd be a cool Christmas if you know that an Auburn fan of yours has a lot of ticket stubs, if you could somehow steal them from them and frame them.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea.
Or get them a little book. I've asked for that before. I don't know where mine is right now, but I've got a book that I put them all in, and like on the sides, it's got the margins, and I write the score, the day, and all that stuff. But I mean, obviously that's going away, which is so sad. I'm going away more.
So yeah, you could do that. I mean, it's really easy to go on Amazon or you could go to TeePublic, the link in the description, and get an E2C Network shirt and some other Auburn related. It's not Auburn licensed stuff, but it has phrases and sayings. And you can get a War Dustbuster t-shirt. Helps keep the lights on here at E2C Network. So if you need gift ideas, go to teepublic.com/E2C Network.
#ad.
#ad. Sponsored by us and apparently Auburn Art today. That's not an official thing, so please don't. I don't want to make them sound like they sponsored something they didn't, but we are giving them free advertisement essentially without them knowing. Read my comment. That's what my ex did.
A few more up there. Yeah.
Frame tickets from
That's
Natty's. Oh, very nice, very nice. So yeah. There are a lot of, basically just type in Auburn gifts online and you can find so many things. If you can find them like a full set of like the regular shakers, a white one, a blue one, and an all orange one, that's like a stocking stuffer type of thing. I've seen done before.
Throw just the original one in there too, just have a foursome. That's
or nice. If you want to go really big, make one of those giant shaker. Like, have you seen the people that have the giant shaker poles?
Yeah, my dad and I always said that we were gonna do get like a blazer from a thrift store and like put holes in it and put the shakers all in it.
Somebody's done that.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. It's not original, but I've always thought that would be cool too. Maybe not a Christmas gift, but
I went to the first Iron Bowl. I thought he was about to say ever. I was like, wow, WT, you are, no offense, but you're really old. In JH, that ticket was huge. Yeah. So I guess this
that's
is
a good one right there, Kyle.
Real ticket. I'm guessing that's a real ticket. This is my dad's.
That's a nice. I love that.
Wow, it's good. Choked up about it, I guess. Yeah, so I can't tell if this is just a reprint. It looks to me like a reprint of the ticket. I'm trying to keep the glare off of it. But yeah, I think it's just a reprint of the ticket. I don't see where there'd be like a clip off thing. But anyway, so my dad always had that in his office. And so
I like that.
Yeah, when he passed away, obviously I got all the Auburn stuff.
Is that the thing next? We really got to stop doing show and tell. But the thing next to it, is that one of those? Is that the tray? I've seen my dad has one.
Oh
of those,
yeah.
the tray.
You talking about this right here?
Yeah.
So forgive me, guys. I do have 2 Alabama things behind me. There's Alabama players in this picture. It's my dad's picture, so don't at me. But this, my brother-in-law found at an antique store, and it is like a commemorative.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, it's got a lot of writing on the back about the 2 guys, but Suge and Bear on it.
I kid you not, there were 2 at the antique store I was at today.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. Because I mean,
yep,
there's probably a ton of them made, but it was such a cool item.
Antique store is a great way to find some cool Auburn gifts.
Yes, and shirts and stuff too. If you go to thrift stores around Auburn, you'll be surprised what you find. I just told Clint's secret for getting Auburn uniforms. Maybe he's gonna kill me if he sees this. Probably, he may or may not have found an old Auburn track complete outfit. Like when he showed it to me, pulled it out of his closet of treasures. I was like, dude, where'd you find it? Did a player give that? He's like, no, this was at a thrift store. So go check them out if you can. What else? We can keep doing show and tell, but surely you guys want other things to talk about here before we sign off for the holidays. Let's see if there's any other comments here. Devin wants us to play Gonzaga too. Yeah, UCLA. A lot of people were saying UCLA when we were talking about that. There's a lot of good options out there for teams that we can play basketball wise. Yeah. What else? Anything else you got on your mind while we wait for some other comments?
Not really.
Trying to just make sure that we didn't miss any of these other ones in here while we did.
Are you going to any road basketball games this year, Kyle?
So we're having a very busy season. So to answer the question, what type of content can I expect over the holidays? As much as I can muster, but let me be honest with you, I have got a hectic holiday. This is probably the busiest holiday time I'm ever going to have. I'm going on the road starting tomorrow for Christmas, and a day after I'll be back for a day, go up to the in-laws to see them, immediately leave, go back to Montgomery where I started, go to Houston for a wedding over New Year's.
Gosh.
Come back, and it'll be the next day is the Georgia game, is basically what I'm trying to get at. So if you are, I think you have to be part of the Atlanta Alumni Club to get the deal, but there's apparently a deal for like $15 or $20 tickets still for the Georgia game. So go if you can. I would have loved to have gone to that one because it's like, I think, an hour and a half from where I am. So unfortunately, I don't have any plans. My only game I've been to, like we talked about last week, was the Memphis game here in Atlanta. That may be the only one I'm able to afford to go to.
Yeah.
Until I magically get allowed into the stadium as a media member. I don't know if that's going to happen. No, so we'll see. What is your much too early prediction for football next year?
Oh yeah, we said we were going to do this last time, or we talked about. Someone asked us, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't even think about that right now." But
I thought we answered this. I mean, not that we can't.
Did I answer it? I mean, I guess you're right. I think I said. Did I say 8?
I said yes. I think we did cover this, so we'll just answer it for WT again. I said that Auburn is a good enough program, even given turmoil, even given all these other things that have been going on, to have a really solid shot at 8-4 every year. So that honestly is my starting point for right now. I think I'm going to try to be really not skeptical coming into this year, but really temper my expectations and really hardcore look at these games as we get closer and closer. And I could see my prediction falling, but it would not shock me in the least if we hit 8-4 or if we somehow get to 9-3.
Yeah,
just spitballing here.
The same. I just kind of glanced at it, and that's kind of the same. There's always a few that I could see going either way, and then there's some few where I feel pretty good about. But I mean, we don't even know what kind of offense this is going to look like until really a day, and then you could be as skeptical as all you want about, even if after that. So
Right.
I think 8 is impressive, and look, it's going to be an odd year. 2023
odd years are
is
good
an odd
years.
year, which means Georgia and Alabama got to come to us. So you never know. You never know with that. And if you don't believe that, then just you go on back to 2021 and tell me that team had any business playing with Alabama. So
Listen,
it'll be a
Devin,
good year.
I like that you're torn. That shows that you're being a realist, but always shade a little bit to sunshine pumping, just a little bit, because it's just a better way to live. But obviously have some realism tempering. Yes, sunshine pumping usually wins, and it should. It will be nice not to be the laughing stock of the SEC. It's always still Vanderbilt, even though they had a somewhat up year. Jay says Marcus Harris, defensive tackle or nose tackle, whichever one of those, will be back for a third year. Is that like a big shock? Like, because I thought he was a junior. In my mind, he was a junior, and I thought he was always going to come back because I don't think he had a big enough year unless he wanted to go somewhere else. Maybe that's what he's celebrating. It's like he's confirmed that he's here for that last year. I guess I maybe took him for granted. I will be very happy to have him back, because even though you don't see like ginormous numbers from him, he was a very solid, reliable guy up the middle with a little bit of extra help and a little bit of extra depth that we are getting and continuing to get for them. He will benefit from that. The whole defense will benefit from that, and the whole defense will benefit from having him back. OG, we talked about this during the podcast recording. We're both very pleased with what happened. I don't know how you walk away from signing day yesterday and today with finally getting that last guy signed that was ready to sign. Just think about that, Austin. 19 guys, 20 guys who already had the availability to sign based on their timeline when they wanted to sign, all signed yesterday. That's crazy.
It's nice. It helps you really not worry about what, the next 2 months with February coming, or a month and a little over a month, I guess.
Yep.
Because how often do they say it now is you got people you got to recruit, but you got to recruit guys to stay. You got to recruit guys to stay on the team now. You got to recruit them to stay committed, all that stuff. So not to have to have one more thing checked off and not worry about the guys. And they're locked in, signed on the dotted line. The fax is in. It's nice.
Right. This one seems pretty obvious to me. It's Jarquez. It is Jarquez's show. He is going to be the lead back. That being said, I think Damari Alston is ready to kind of find himself in the limelight, so to speak. So, I know that's the boring answer, but I think it's Jarquez's show. You'll see the Tank Jarquez show, just different, the opposite.
Yeah, Jarquez is going to be RB1 for sure. A lot of smoke around the former Mississippi State running back, Dylan Johnson. Sounds like he could want to join the party. Kyle mentioned Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb before yesterday was Auburn's highest rated commit, and then Keldrick Falk overtook him when he flipped from Florida State. But Jeremiah's still to sign in February. But those guys, when you get those kind of guys, they tend to make immediate impact somewhere right off the bat. So it's going to be a fun running back room at Auburn, as it should be and as it usually is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's very few of these people, WT, that are I've seen them with my own eyes. Those are people that just want to be upset about something. Big Simp with the super chat. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you popping in. I appreciate you.
Merry Christmas, Big Simp.
Thank you. Appreciate you helping keep the lights on here at E2C Network. Maybe I can buy some more of those Christmas lights to go like around the edge. It's just one strand that just goes up there. I know it seems stupid and silly, but to me, like when I figured out, I should put them there, and you can actually see them. Because like I said, it was just two here that were anyway.
Okay,
yeah. Listen, I feel like a failure when I can't do those little things like that.
Hey, it's okay. We all take a little bit longer on some things.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. That's why I'm a podcaster now, not something else.
An electrician.
Yes. There's some electrician related stuff I should be doing around my house, but maybe I shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interested to see how National Signing Day goes. Yeah, it'll be interesting because will people lose their mind if it's not as big as this day? It can't be as big as this day because we got 20 guys signed.
And that's for everybody. Everybody does that. Everybody focuses on this one now.
But you should get somebody, right? You shouldn't have a zilch, you know.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is an idea. Neil, why didn't you mention this earlier in the season? I can just see them like glaring in my eyes like that.
Yeah.
Listen,
two bulbs like right here.
Or just like, you know what? I honestly did have this thought, putting them around the chair. You would probably see them a little bit. Yeah. So here's my dream, and we're going to start wrapping up here soon. So if you got final comments and questions, go ahead and get them in. We're about an hour in. One day, I want to have a room bigger than this so I can have a little bit better lighting situation. It's not terrible now, but it's not great. And I'm going to have orange and blue like wall lights. And we're going to have like the things that go through my head about what I want to do.
Wow.
I just don't have the money or the capability to do them yet.
The fourth quarter light show is going to be happening in Kyle's room.
It's going to be that. We're in segment 3 of the Auburn Experience podcast. Get your fingers up. 3.
Get your fingers up. And it's going to have the video. My favorite part of that video is, I think it's Bo, but like the old school video. And he's like doing the thing. He's like laying down on the field, shaking, and they do the music with it. Yeah.
All right. Final comments and questions. Some of y'all are getting them in. Continue to get them in. We'll rapid fire them at the end. Let me go ahead and give you the things you need to know. What our schedule will be like for the next 2 weeks. As I've already said, we will not have an Auburn Experience live recording or episode. Like we won't even do one, without the live recording for about 2 weeks. So not this Sunday, but I guess the Sunday after that. So just know that for a bit, you're not going to have
should be January 8th would be that Sunday.
Thank you. This is why you're here, to keep me from fumbling like I am right now. That will be when we'll come back ready to go. We will miss you guys in the interim, but no, we will come back fired up, ready to talk about the things we got for Christmas, probably that are Auburn related. Hopefully we get some. I don't know that I did ask for something Auburn for Christmas. Outside of the Auburn Experience show here at the E2C Network YouTube channel, we will have videos when I can get them out to you. Obviously, I'm trying to have a little bit of holiday myself, but we will try to get some of those out. We will do a post-game show this Wednesday. I will be back here after the Florida game, big SEC matchup to start off the conference play. So we'll do that one. We will do one, the next one as well, which will be after New Year's. I'll be back from my round trip around the United States, basically, for that too. That's really the only 2 guaranteed things. So there will be no Wednesday night show aside from the post-game shows. So basically we're putting on hiatus our 2 main shows until after the holidays, the Auburn Experience show and the Wednesday night call-in show. Videos will come out when they can. We will have some podcasts from the other guys and girls, because Jessica's got Tiger Tracks coming out as soon as we can through the holidays. So be looking for those. You can listen to them on any podcast app or over at the Auburn podcast YouTube channel. The E2C Network podcast YouTube channel. That link is in the description. That's audio only, no video, but it is a video, but you get the drift. I'm talking too much. Anyway, I know I've got a lot of things to cover before we head out for the holidays. Last things, as always, want to remind you guys to be subscribed so you can be part of that subscriber giveaway, and leave a comment below so you can be part of that giveaway process as well. That'll help you in that. Doesn't count for in the live chats. Also, check out those links in the description of ways you can help support our content here. Channel membership program, booster club program. But you don't have to do any of that. You can just be here, hang out with us, and have a good time being good old Auburn family and E2C Network family people. So, rapid fire at the end. let's see what we got here. Anyone know what happened with Grayson McCall? Haven't had the chance to hear anything. My understanding it's academic issues. You got anything, Austin?
We don't have his major. That's what comes at the end of the day. These are student athletes, and we don't have his major. You can debate all you want about should we have his major, should we not. My wife's already heard the whole earful of that, but we don't have his major. There's a way Grayson McCall can play. He needs like about 30 credit hours before next August. Doable, but
That's what I say. Is that possible?
I mean, you could take 15 in the summer and take 15 next spring, but that's a big risk for Auburn and big risk for him. So I'd be doubtful.
Yeah. So obviously it's an academics thing. We will stay warm. It's going to get cold everywhere in the South.
Very cold.
Here. Yeah. What's the major real quick? Do you know?
Sports management.
We don't have sports management.
Fun fact, I actually went to an advisor freshman year and asked about it, and I was told, not rudely, I was just told politely, if that's really something you want to go into, you should probably transfer to Florida or Georgia. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. So
see, that's not going to be an option for me.
That's not going to work.
That'll not do it right there.
So no, we do not have it. Without getting too much into it, it can be done. I don't know the whole politics and red tape you got to go through to do it. Alabama's is under their hospitality school, which we have a great one. That's why you have the Heyday Market and the Laurel. But that's a long way away and not going to matter to Grayson McCall. So,
yep. Well, all right, people, we are out for the Auburn Experience for our holiday break. We will be excited to be back on the 8th. I believe Austin said it was with you guys for another live recording. Members will get back to the regular schedule. Sundays at 9 o'clock. Wednesday live shows at 8 will return as soon as we get through this holiday period and with those 2 basketball games on Wednesday nights coming up. Just stay tuned, stay connected on social media. We're about to break 5,000 on Twitter. We're getting close to 1,000 on Instagram. If you haven't followed us there, do that. That's my last ask of you for the holiday. If you could give me anything for Christmas, help us break 5,000 on Twitter and 1,000 on Instagram. That would be a humongous help. You guys are the best little family within the Auburn family, and I mean that for everybody except Austin. He said, peace. I'm not coming back ever again. But seriously, Austin, thank you so much for hanging out with us and being part of this. And Merry Christmas to you and yours.
I enjoy it every week. Merry Christmas. I'll miss you all. And we'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, Kyle.
You guys too. Merry Christmas to all. And to all, as Austin said, a War Eagle.